Well, hello and meowdy everyone! Welcome back to another video. I Saphwyn, the silly Neko Vtuber, and today we are diving on into the Living Stew channel for the very first time. This is going to be the blind apex predator who eats polar bears and lives for centuries. And if you're like, what the heck are we going to be talking about? We are talking about a shark. It is the Greenland shark. He is also the only shark that lives in the Arctic 24/7. 365 days a year. He is there. In the middle of winter, you'll find the Greenland shark somewhere out and about. He is built for the Arctic temperatures. He is built for the cold. He belongs to the family of sleeper sharks, which are known for their low swimming activities. They have the ability to thrive in the cold, and that is why we find our Greenland shark way up here in the Arctic. If you know anything about sharks, you'll know that there are other species in the family. We have the Pacific sleeper shark and we have the southern sleeper shark. Wow, creative names. I know. They also all thrive in cold temperature. It's going to be a wonderful time. I hope you enjoy my reaction. I'm super excited. I freaking love this shark. I hope you love this shark as well after we are done. We don't know a lot about the shark though. Before we dive in, I don't know what Living Stew will talk about. I will tell you right now though, we don't know too much about the shark due to where he lives. And before we dive into, I do have a plushie campaign. So if you want to pick up a limited edition staff plushie, I need to sell 18 more before it goes into production. So pick it up today. Link will be down below. It supports me and I would absolutely love to see it in production. So let's dive on into the video.
If you take a little vacation up to the North Atlantic and Arctic Ocean, and then somehow muster the courage to descend some 2,200 meters.
You know what? That's exactly what I was thinking about doing next week. That's crazy.
Or 7,200 feet below the surface, then you may come across what I'd consider as one of the derpiest and oddest looking sharks out there. The Greenland shark, who, no offense to them, look like literal living mummies. And yet somehow, they have turned out to be...
Well, I mean, they kind of are. Ew. Is that parasite? Ew.
And weirder than they look.
Ah.
And it has also turned out that what they look like isn't really how they are. And I know that's confusing, so let me explain. Take a look at those eyes. Those oh so sharp, bulging eyes. They're pretty hard to miss. And I have always associated Greenland sharks with them, assuming they were designed to aid them in an environment where the sun does not shine, theoretically allowing them to scope out easy to miss prey. And yet, as it turns out, their eyes are useless. In fact, not only do their eyes suck, but most of them actually don't have any, at least the sight that is, considering that the vast majority are legally blind. And how many, you ask? Well, try basically every single one of them.
Wow. The whole population. I guess they don't need to see when they're, the apex predator. They're the only shark there.
Researchers estimate that well over 90% of all Greenland sharks are blind. And others think that essentially 100% of them have some form of blindness, with most only being capable of making out hazy patterns of darkness and light. So in other words, almost nothing. But it's not entirely their fault that they've ended up in this poor condition, as their blindness isn't actually due to them being born blind, but rather thanks to a buggersome creature, which you might have spotted if you really analyze every picture I use.
Guys, if you're new to my channel, you will know I hate parasites. If you're old to my channel, if you never watched another animal video, parasites are the one thing I hate. I had to learn them. I had to take 2 classes on them. Not 1, but 2 classes on parasites. And they're so gross to me. That's like the only thing I find gross. Like, I love spiders. I love little insects. I love all the creepy crawling things. But parasites? No, thank you. No, thank you.
So far. Take a look at this picture.
Oh my god.
Now focus on the eyes. You notice that string on it? Well, that is the annoying and somewhat terrifying little critter I just mentioned, which is all but snatched away the Greenland shark's eyes. And its name is Omatocoita elongata. It is a type of copepod that only measures about 1 inch or so, and has made its whole life purpose to live off of Greenland sharks.
Its whole life purpose. We have an evolution of a parasite, and the whole life purpose is I want to go live off the eye of a Greenland shark. Like, what? This is why I hate parasites, man. This is why I hate them. Like, why?
Specifically eating their corneas for survival. Talk about bad tenants. In virtually every—
How did this even evolve? Like, what? I need to see the evolution of how this evolved, because what?
The thing we know about these parasites is just this, as they are rarely, if ever, found elsewhere than on a Greenland shark. And in one's lifetime, it's thought that each shark may support hundreds of generations of these freeloaders, which turn out to essentially not even give any benefits back to the shark. because originally it was thought that they might have glowed in the dark or did something useful to help attract prey
no, they're
towards
just
the
there.
sharks.
They're just
but this,
there.
Unfortunately for our shark friends, does not actually seem to be the case. So here it is with no eyes, has a parasite eating its face perpetually, is super slow thanks to a very high amount of slow twitch muscle fibers, and lives in basically the abyss. So in other words,
this is disgusting. I'm sorry. You know what? If you're still watching this video with me, I apologize. Actually, you know, knowing my YouTubers and my YouTube comments, you probably like parasites. I feel like this is your vibe.
Everything seems against it. And yet, don't count it out, as the Greenland shark always seems to come out on top, including in the food chain.
That's so interesting.
This is likely thanks to its powerful senses, as besides having a lackluster vision, which is probably a generous way of putting it, they do actually have impeccable hearing, a fantastic sense of smell, especially for finding dead things, and the ability to feel pressure changes so precisely that in a way, it can actually map out its surroundings. And so armed with these senses, the Greenland shark has basically become a ninja, especially when you factor in its stealthy slowness,
okay, that's cool.
which surprisingly can actually be seen as a good thing. Now, most of its diet comes from using its powerful smell to detect carrion in the water, but they've also been observed using their slow speeds to quietly drift up to a variety of animals undetected, before using lunges and surprisingly nasty bites to take them out.
Smart. So it's the slow approach, the slow but steady, almost like stalking your prey in the water, right? Kind of, because when they get close enough, that's when they do their last little burst of energy to latch onto their prey. That's smart. I feel like when you're living in the Arctic, though, you kind of have to be a slow-moving shark like this.
With its top teeth having been designed to serve as anchors in flesh, while the bottom ones cut out huge chunks of meat. And the unlucky animals that might feel this include the usuals like seals, fish, and even whales. But then get this, they also partake in the occasional moose, horse, and reindeers, all of who have been observed swimming in the ocean and have been found in the stomach of Greenland sharks. Who, mind you,
the thing is though too, okay, here's the thing. If it's found in the stomach of a Greenland shark, not to say it doesn't hunt, it could very well hunt it, but if it's found in the stomach, that could also be an indication of it eating a carcass in the water. You know, like when an animal dies, drowns, maybe something in the water, and then their carcass like sinks or whatever, Greenland shark can find it. Greenland shark doesn't care for rotting flesh like that was drowned, right? He could be like a scavenger in that. So although I'm not dismaying him, very well could. I've seen sharks grab moose and pull them under. I've seen it, like very well could happen. But I'm just saying on the other side of things, it also could be an indication of this being just a scavenger.
Or actually massive, measuring 6.4 meters or 21 feet and weighing over a ton.
It could go both ways.
And then for the cherry on top.
But like I said, we have the research behind it, but he is a fresh fish that we are researching, that we are still learning about every single day.
Not even the Arctic's so-called king, the polar bear, is safe, as it has also been found snugly within a Greenland shark stomach. And analysis on its remains implied that it wasn't even a dead polar bear that was just washed out to the open waters, but rather one that was eaten alive.
I'm big, I'm old, I'm slow, and I'm proud of it.
That not even in the North Pole can you swim without the fear of sharks. And get this, if the prey is small enough, it can use a suction attack to swallow them whole, and this includes human-sized ones. Though thankfully, attacks in our kind seem to be rather rare, minus, just one human leg that happened to be found in a specimen's stomach.
Excuse me, according to the International Shark Attack File at ISAF, there has only been one reported attack of the Greenland shark on a human. Around 1859 in Poland, inland Canada, it was reported that a Greenland shark was caught containing a human leg in its stomach. But was it an alive human prior to this? I don't know. That's mysterious too. 1859, unfortunately, not to dismay you guys or anything, but the documentation back then, not the greatest. I don't know.
But never mind that. That's besides the point. The actual point is that these guys are not to be underestimated, even in death, because Greenland sharks are swimming nukes. Well, toxic nukes, as their flesh and bodies are highly toxic, actually being more dangerous than any other shark in the entire world. And this is due to the abnormally high concentrations of urea and trimethylamine oxide within their bodies, which in turn makes eating their flesh rather hazardous. And if you ignore this warning and eat them anyway, you'll end up with, well, lots of urea in your body, which causes a bunch of problems, to say it lightly. But let me put it like this. Naturally, humans only see a toxic overflow of urea in one situation, and that's when their kidneys stop, kidneying. The toxicity of their flesh also makes them smell like pee, which along with
Can I call it the PP shark? No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Its dangers would probably make you want to stay far away from it, or so you would think. As in some areas, Greenland shark meat is actually eaten as a delicacy, most famously in Iceland, where it goes by the name haukart. I know, deceptive spelling. And it is made safe by fermenting the meat for more than a month, basically putrefying the flesh and transforming the urea and other harmful things.
Why even would you bother? I don't know. I mean, I'm just not a knower. It's okay.
Into ammonia, which can still technically kill you, but thankfully reaches safe levels in the meat. And if you're wondering about the taste, Anthony Bourdain so eloquently called it the single worst, most disgusting, and terrible tasting thing he had ever eaten. Now, with them being so toxic, you'd assume that Greenland sharks would be letting out some of it. But no, they just bottle these toxins up inside. Because these guys don't pee. Like, at all. In fact, what you would call their urine ends up being absorbed by their own flesh. Which actually...
Sometimes I like to question nature. I didn't know this about them. Okay, I did not know this about the Greenland shark. I don't know a lot. I just watched, I don't know, a couple of documentaries about them prior. But I just like...
It helps keep them from drying out. Because you gotta remember, they live in basically a salty soup. So you have to find a way to keep that pesky salt water at bay. And it turns out the urea is pretty good at that.
Okay, that's kind of
cool. And actually, these guys have so much urea in them that not even straight human pee can rival their concentration. Which ultimately makes it hard for almost anything to eat a Greenland shark.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. You know what? I was kind of dissing on him, but that's a kind of cool fact.
Even if it wanted to. But here's the craziest thing. Despite being ultra toxic, blind, and looking like they're swimming on life support, Greenland sharks have still managed to become the longest living vertebrate species, with a lifespan of at least 272 years, with the oldest members possibly being over 500 years old. Which is insane. I mean, to put that into perspective, do you know what was happening 500 years ago? Martin Luther. No, not that Martin Luther. This one. You know, the guy responsible for Protestantism and Lutheranism. Another way to look at this is the Greenland shark born 500 years ago was alive when Hernan Cortez was killing the last Aztec emperor ever. And you'd be right to guess that given their ancient ages, Greenland sharks...
They're ancient. They're actually ancient. They're older than a tortoise. Everyone knows a tortoise to be super old. And they're older than that.
Have a lot of kids, with females birthing up to 700 pups in their lifetime. And here's the real...
I will say though, I will say this too. He is a newly researched shark. So in a couple years, 10, 20 years, this could all be debunked as well. Or it could be proven to be accurate. Because I'm pretty sure when I was reading articles about him, scientists referred to like taking a shot in the dark. And they have such little data to make proper hypotheses on the age, and they need more research to fully like understand what's actually going on with these sharks. So like I said, if it comes out in, you know, years time that he's not actually 500 plus years old, it comes out in times, but that's like the prediction as of right now. Because in 2016 they used carbon dating to estimate the longevity of the shark. So this was a 2016 study, 10 years ago. But like I said, this is putting it in a ballpark when looking at dates of tens of thousands of years. And he cautions that the method has margins of error for shorter time frames. So the study that was done on them has already like indicated that they do have margins of errors. So like I said, just keep that in mind. I don't want you like going out there and be like, oh my God, like 500-year-old shark. Yes, it could very well be a 500-year shark, but do keep in mind that this is, you know, not a lot of research going into the hypotheses. This is margin of error and a large margin of error. So keep that in mind, okay?
Kicker. While in humans, pregnancy lasts between 9 and 10 months. In Greenland sharks, it can be between 8.
And before anyone comments on the videos, 10 months, what the heck? A human pregnancy is about 9.5 months. That's why I said between 9 and 10 months, because it's about 9 months and 1 to 2 weeks. So that's, I just want to say that before anyone's like, actually, it's not 10 months, okay?
And 18 years, that is. So quite the commitment. The ultimate question is, though, how do they manage to live for so long? And there's a couple reasons, but one part of the answer is due to the fact that they have a very, very, very slow metabolism that is so sluggish that its body and DNA can literally repair itself faster than its metabolism.
Wait, speaking of that though, if he belongs to the sleeper shark, I wonder if the rest of the sleeper sharks also all live, maybe not as long as the Greenland shark, but they all live for a decent amount of time. I'm gonna have to go do research about all these sleeper sharks, aren't I?
Damages them. And on the daily, one only needs to eat 200 grams of fish. So less than 0.1% of its total body weight.
That's not a lot of fish.
Which in a human would be like only needing a few chips per day to be happy, nothing more. And even without food, they can carry on surviving for more than a year. Now, given their super slow metabolism, they unsurprisingly also grow at a snail's pace, only gaining up to a centimeter every year. Meaning that when they finally reach sexual maturity, which mind you, takes only, 150 years, they are sometimes not even halfway to reaching their max sizes. However,
I should mention too, I'm pretty sure the last time a Greenland shark was documented pregnant was like 1950s. Correct me if I'm wrong, YouTube, because I haven't caught up with any of the recent research, because there's been some articles come out in like 2026, 2025 about them. But from the last I read about them, it was indicating that 1950s was when they last seen a pregnant Greenland shark, I think.
Should mention, they technically don't even have max sizes because they just keep growing until they die. They are also super resistant against cancer, thanks to some funky genes that keeps them tumor-free for centuries. Their internal body also works in slow-mo, as their hearts beat at only 5 beats per minute, and they move slower than any other fish in the world when adjusted for size. And what's crazy is that because they're just so gosh darn slow and old, there's been some speculation that they may even perceive time quite differently than most other animals do. In other words,
they probably do. If they do live for 500 plus years, they definitely perceive time differently. They have to, or else they would go crazy.
These sharks are bugging, and the fact that they exist is absolutely wild within itself. And of course, whenever an animal lives for a surprisingly long time, people flock to it like vultures to a carcass. Which is also a great segue to plug my last video. So go watch that. And in recent years, many studies have been carried out trying to see if we can apply its longevity hacks to ourselves. The irony to this, though, is that while we are trying to derive as much advantages from this shark as we can, we're not giving any back, as pretty much the only major threat to them is us. Originally, like back in the 60s, Greenland sharks were mainly killed for their liver.
We're a major threat to a lot of whales out there, especially due to bycatch. Correct. When fishing, yes.
Oil.
Speaking of that, did you guys see there was an experiment? Sorry, sidetrack slightly, but there was an experiment where they were putting plastic water bottles on fishermen nets, and it was preventing dolphins from going into the nets because I think they saw the reflections. I gotta pull up the article for you, or you guys can go find it after, but I remember reading it and I was like, wait, that's actually kind of smart, because when they see the reflection of the bottle, they can indicate that there's a net there, because dolphins are intelligent. But it was cool. It was cool.
It was thought to hold healing properties, among other uses. But eventually, with the introduction of synthetic oils, this practice was thankfully stopped. But since then, commercial fishing has gotten much more popular.
Yes,
and while not purposely targeting the sharks, it is estimated that annually, about 3,500 Greenland sharks are accidentally caught each year. Of these caught, not all of them die, but many do. And it's guessed that in recent years, that up to 50% of all Greenland sharks have been killed by human fishing and other activities. And given their long lifespans and late maturity, each death is much more impactful to the population than deaths are in certain other animals.
We have an accurate number on their population either, right?
Making it very tricky, yet very important, to conserve these amazing geriatric creatures.
I always find it
Thanks for watching, and until next time on Living Zoo.
I kind of like Living Zoo. Do you guys like Living Zoo? If you made it all the way to the end of this video, comment down a shark emoji. I'm sorry I yapped a lot. Holy moly. Actually, I'm not sorry, because I think you guys like hearing extra information. I always feel bad, though. I don't know why I feel bad. It's just a me thing. But comment down the shark emoji if you made it all the way to the end of this video. Like I said, this animal is so suspicious to researchers, to the science world. Research is happening regarding him. People are doing their experimentations, so it is going to be interesting to see, where the research goes, where we find out more about him. I freaking love him. I love learning about him, and I think he's a really cool shark. Like I said, I gotta go learn about the other sleeper sharks, though. I think there's about 20 in the family. Don't quote me. I don't know for sure, but maybe give or take around 20 of the sleeper sharks, and a lot of them are all cold water sharks. So I'd be intrigued to see the similarities between these animals, but I hope you enjoyed them regardless. And like I said, please remember, no, I do not think he's out here catching polar bears. I think he's more scavenging a polar bear, but that isn't to say if a polar bear, ends up swimming in the water for a long time and catching hypothermia or something, he becomes weak and slow. And I mean, if you have a polar bear in that regard, it'd be pretty easy for the Greenland shark to kill if he wanted to kill, right? With a slow moving polar bear. But I think, you know, more documentation needs to be had. We need to actually research it further, catch these hypotheses in motions, catch these questions in motion. Always sad. I always find it sad to see when, you know, whales and cetaceans and animals end up as bycatch in fishing. And like I said, go check out that study. It is on Google. I'm pretty sure if you just Google like plastic water bottle in fishing nets saving dolphins, you'll find what I'm talking about, because it's an interesting study. If you want more information, go do it. But I'm going to leave you guys here. I talked for so long in this video, so oopsies. And do remember, if you want to support my content, we do have a limited edition plushie. I need 18 more pledges as of this video. Check it out. The link will be down below in the description and or in the comments. It will be the pinned comment. And I will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a wonderful day and goodbye.